Hi, this is Saranya. Today I am going to take the topic machine learning.
Today I am going to handle the topic steps that are involved in building a machine learning model. Okay, so in machine learning, we are going to see how to build the machine learning model. Okay, so the steps following are used to build the machine learning model. First one is data collection, and the second one is data pre-processing and data preparation. Third one is selecting the model, and the fourth one is training the model, and fifth one evaluating the performance of the model, and sixth one tuning and optimizing the model, and seventh one deploying the model. At first, we are going to see about the data collection for machine learning. The data collection is a crucial step in the creation of machine learning model because it lays the foundation for building accurate models. So in this phase, machine learning model development, relevant data is generated from various sources to train the machine learning model and enable it to make accurate predictions. So the first step is the data collection. That means we need to define the problem. What is the problem? We need to define what is the problem. If we define the problem, then only we can able to fetch what type of data set that we need to rectify this problem. We need to give the solution to this problem. So we need to understand the requirements of the machine learning project. This usually involves the determining the type of data we need for our project, like structured or unstructured data, and identifying potential sources for gathering data. Once the requirements are finalized, data can be collected from a variety of sources such as databases, APIs, web scraping, and manual data entry. It is crucial to ensure that the collected data is both relevant and accurate as the quality of the data directly impacts the generalization ability of our machine learning model. In other words, the better quality of the data, performance and reliability of our data in making predictions or decisions. Step number 2, pre-processing and preparing your data. Pre-processing and preparing data is an important step that involves transferring raw data into a format. Raw data into a format that is suitable for training and testing for our models. This phase aims to clean, remove null values and garbage values and normalize and pre-process the data to achieve greater accuracy and performance of our machine learning models. So at first when we select the data, we need to remove the outliers, what are the values that are garbage values, what are the null values, how to normalize these things that we have to keep it in our mind. That is the thing we need to do during the pre-processing time to get the exact clear data, or to remove the null values or garbage values or irrelevant values, redundant values from the raw data. So this step is very much important for our machine learning model. During the building process, we need to make sense whether the data is consisting, raw data is consisting errors or some unwanted data. We need to normalize it, we need to clear it, we need to pre-process it. This is one of the important steps. And then so that is given here. So pre-processing and preparing data is an important step that involves transferring raw data into format that is suitable for training and testing for our models. This phase aims to clean, remove null values and garbage values and normalize and pre-process the data to achieve greater accuracy and performance of our machine learning models. So, as Clive Humby said, what Clive Humby said? He said that data is the new oil, it's valuable, but it is, if unrefined, it cannot be used. So, like a oil, the oil, if it is unrefined, we cannot able to use directly. So, we need to unrefine it. If it is unrefined, we cannot able to use. So, we need to refine the oil before we need to take it for some cooking process. Likewise, the pre-processing process typically involves several steps including the handling the missing values, encoding the categorical variables, converting into numerical, scaling numerical features and feature engineering. This ensures that the model performance is optimized and also our model can generalize well to unseen data and finally get accurate predictions. So step number 3, selecting the right machine learning model. Selecting the right machine learning model plays a pivotal role in role in building of successful model with the presence of numerous algorithms and techniques available easily choosing the most suitable model for a given problem significantly impacts the accuracy and performance of the model. This process of selecting the right machine learning model involves several considerations. Firstly, understanding the nature of the problem is an essential step, as our model nature can be of any type like classification, regression, clustering, or more. Different type of problems require different type of algorithms to make our model more predictive. And then what about the fourth step? Training your machine learning model. In this phase, building a machine learning model, we have all the necessary integrants to train our model effectively. This involves utilizing our prepared data to teach the model to recognize patterns and make predictions based on the input features. During the training process, we begin by feeding the pre-processed data into the selected machine learning algorithms. The algorithm then iteratively adjusts its internal parameters to minimize the difference between its predictions and the actual target values in the training data. This optimization process often employs techniques like gradient descent. As the model learns from the training data, it gradually improves its ability to generalize to new or unseen data. This iterative learning process enables the model to become more adept at making accurate predictions across a wide range of scenarios. And then the fifth step, once the model is built, first we are taking the exact data. At the second step, we are doing the pre-processing. At the third step, what we did after pre-processing, at the third step, we are choosing the right machine learning model. At the fourth step, we are training the machine learning model. And then at the fifth step, we need to evaluate the model performance. So once the model is, you have trained the model, it's time to access its performance. There are various metrics used to evaluate the model performance, categorized based on the type of task, regression or numerical or classification. For regression tasks, some common evaluation metrics are mean absolute error. MEA is the average of the absolute difference between the predicted and the actual values. Mean squared error. MSE is the average of the squared differences between predicted and actual values. Root mean squared error. It is a square root of the mean squared error, providing a measure of the average magnitude of the error. R square, it is the proportion of variance in the dependent variable that is predictable from the independent variables. For classification tasks, some common evaluation metrics are accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score. Accuracy, proportion of correctly classified instance out of the total instances. Precision, proportion of the true positive predictions among all positive predictions. Recall, proportion of true positive prediction among all actual positive instances. F1 score, harmonic mean of precision and recall, providing a balanced measure of model performance. Area under the receiver operating characteristic curve, measure of the model's ability to distinguish between the classes. So one of the most popular evaluation technique is our confusion matrix. It is carried out in most of the projects and then paper writing thing, and then to prove the accuracy of one score, we are following this confusion matrix in most of the things to justify our results. So that much important this confusion matrix is. It is a matrix that summarizes the performance of a classification model, showing counts of true positives, true negatives, false positives and false negative instances. By evaluating the model using these metrics, one can gain insights into strength and weakness of a model, allowing us to use further refinement and optimization. So confusion matrix. So this is the confusion matrix in which n, which represents the total number of predictions, actual whether it is yes or no. Actual, how many of the terms which will come under the no, how many of the terms which will come under the yes, and then predicted, how many of the terms which are predicted as no, and how many of the terms which is predicted as yes. So it will be consisting of 4 columns, and then the first column which represents the true negative, second column, first row which represents the false positive, and then the third thing false negative, and then fourth thing true positive. So how it is? True negative. Model has given prediction no, and the real or actual value was also no. So model has given prediction no. So prediction, when you are going with medical diagnosis, if he is a diabetes person, if he is not a diabetes person, the model predicts that he is not having the diabetes. It says that he is not having the diabetes. It results as no. And then the real actual value was also no. Then it will be true negative. So it is true negative means he is not having the diabetes. So it will be the result as negative. So it is a true negative, true positive. The model has predicted yes and the actual value was also true. That means the person who is having the diabetes and the predicted result is also yes, he is having diabetes, its results as yes, then it is known as true positive. Now what about the false negative? The model has predicted no, but the actual value was yes. It is also called the type 2 error. That means the model has predicted no. The model states, according to the prediction, the result states no. But the actual value was he is having the diabetes. But according to the prediction, it results that he is not having the diabetes. Actually, he is having the diabetes, but the result has came as he is not as a diabetes person. Then it is represented as false negative. Then what about the false positive? The model has predicted yes, but the actual value was no. Model states that the person is having the diabetes and the actual value was no. Actual value was no. Then it is stated as type 1 error, that is false positive. Taking the data set which consists of 100 data sets, 100 observations. In this 100 observation, we can imagine it as medical data set, medical diagnosis data set. So it consists of 100 observations related to the diabetes data set. So true negative. So 65 which comes under true negative, 3 which comes under false positive, and then 8 which comes under false negative, and then 24 which comes under true positive. From the above example, it is clearly shown that the classifier has made up total of 100 predictions. Out of 100 predictions, 89 are true predictions and then 11 are incorrect predictions. And then precision was recalled. Precision tells us how many of the correctly predicted cases actually turned out to be positive. As how to calculate the precision. This would be to determine whether our model is reliable or not. Recall tells us how many of the actual positive cases we were able to predict correctly with our model. And here's how we can calculate the recall. Confusion matrix recall is calculated. That is, recall is equal to true positive, which is given true positive plus false negative. And then actual values, and then how true positive 30, false positive 30, and then false negative 10, and then true negative 930. This is a data analysis which is done with the help of the confusion matrix for the sick people. Sick people correctly predicted as sick by the model is true positive, that consists of 30 patients, and then healthy people incorrectly predicted as sick by the model is 30, that is false positive, and then sick people incorrectly predicted as not sick by the model, which comes under the false negative, that is 10, and then the true negative, that is healthy people correctly predicted as not sick by the model, that is 930 observations. Okay, we can easily calculate the precision and the call for our model by plugging into the values into the above questions. Precision, that is equal to, according to the given numerical values, 30 divided by 30, 30 plus 30, that is equal to 0.5. Recall is equal to 30 divided by 30 plus 10, that is equal to 0.75. That means according to the formula they are substituting here. For recall, true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So true positive given here. So according to the sick patient data set, true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So what is the true positive? 30. For recall, true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So true positive is 30, false negative is 10. So recall, we are substituting the formula 30 true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So 30 divided by 30 plus 10, that is given as, that is equal to 0.75. So 50% of the correctly predicted cases turned out to be positive cases, whereas 75% of the positives were successfully predicted by our model. So precision is a useful metric in cases where false positive is higher concern than false negatives. Precision is important in music or video recommendation systems, e-commerce websites, etc. Wrong results could lead to customer churn and be harmful to the business. Recall is a useful metric in cases where false negative trumps false positive. Recall is important in medical cases where it does not matter whether we raise a false alarm, but the actual positive cases should not go undetected. What is the F1 score? In practice, when we try to increase the precision of our model, the recall goes down and vice versa. The F1 score captures both the trends in a single value. F1 score is equal to 2, which is divided by 1 by recall plus 1 by precision. That means the inverse of recall plus inverse of precision. And F1 score is a harmonic mean of precision and recall. Harmonic mean is the average of the calculated by summing the reciprocal of each value in the dataset and then dividing the number of values in the dataset by that sum. The value of F1 score lies between 0 and 1, with 1 being a better. And then micro average is the precision recall F1 score calculated for all the classes. Micro average precision that is given as TP1 plus TP2 divided by TP1 plus TP2 plus FP1 plus FP2. And then next we are going to the step 6, that is tuning and optimizing your model. So as we have trained our model, our next step is to optimize our model more. Tuning and optimizing helps our model to maximize its performance and generalization ability. This process involves fine-tuning the hyperparameters, selecting the best algorithm, and improving the features through feature engineering techniques. Hyperparameters are parameters that are set before the training process begins and control the behavior of the machine learning model. These are like learning rate, regularization, and the parameters of the model should be carefully adjusted. Deploying the model and making predictions. Deploying the model and making predictions is the final stage in creating the ML model. Once the model has been trained and optimized, it's need to integrate into your production environment where it can provide real-time predictions on new data. During model deployment, it's essential to ensure that the system can handle higher user loads, operate smoothly without crashes, and can be easily updated. Tools like Docker and Kubernetes help make this process easier by packaging the model in a way that makes it easy to run on different computers and manage efficiently. Once deployment is done, our model is ready to predict new data, which involves feeding unseen data in the deployed model to enable the real-time decision making. So, thus we have covered the 7 steps that is involved in building the machine learning model. So, I hope that this topic make you somewhat sensible for building the machine learning model. Thank you all.